I just want to run through a few questions, kind of get your answer. You founded it. So I guess with that, what is Graymatter?
It's a mental performance supplement company. Where it came from is that I was always been an entrepreneur, early stage startups, and there's a founder or early stage team. And first time I was VC backed, I was really young, 26 years old, and fell into it. It just happened. And I realized really quickly, like, oh shit, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And there was all this pressure on me. And as a young person, and even people today, I thought what a lot of people did, which is, how am I going to be more productive? I got to be more productive. What should I do? I'm going to take Adderall or take these stimulants and drink a bunch of caffeine, and that'll like just keep me energized, and I'll be able to get at, it actually made me less productive. It made me more anxious. And it got to a point where I just hated how I was feeling. I thought there's got to be a better way than this. And so I wanted to understand, why do I feel this way? And so I dove into the neuroscience behind my mind and what I was feeling, the anxiety, and why I couldn't really stay on task and whatnot. And it took me down many different paths, but I did basically two things. Taught myself how to meditate, which was incredibly important. So I can actually change the physiology of your mind. And then started experimenting with nootropics and adaptogens. If you don't know what that is, it's like a specific substance that has an effect on your mind. The easiest way to describe it is caffeine. Caffeine is a nootropic. It neuromodulates dopamine up in your mind, and it has an effect that everybody knows. There's hundreds of ones, right? And so I started going down this kind of testing period of experimenting on myself, and it had a great positive effect on me. I could finally focus for long periods of time and get things done. And when I would talk about it, nobody knew what it was. Nootropic, what is that? And it was just very obvious to me at the time that there was an opportunity to help more people discover and benefit from plant-based cognitive supplementation. So I didn't really do anything with it at the time, but fast forward in my career, my previous company to this was called Charm. Charm.io was on the founding team there. It was basically a database of all e-commerce stores, Shopify stores. And so I had this kind of bird's eye view into what was happening in space, and it made me want to start my own brand. So I went back to this idea that I've always had and got connected with a PhD biologist, started formulating my stack of plant-based compounds that improved my capacity, wanting to make something that was different on the market in that you could really feel it. But I would try some of these other things on the market. They kind of help. It was subtle. I could get to what I was wanting to feel by stacking things. And I was like, why doesn't this exist? You want to take it and then get to work, you know what I mean? Or do whatever it is you're doing, create something. So we put more ingredients at a higher dose. The effective dose, amount of grams that you're actually taking, is often 2 to 3 times the size of things that are on the market. So it has this really powerful, quick impact on you, but then also has this compounding benefits over time if you continue to do it. So that's the thesis of where it came from. When I made this, we didn't expect to have it be as big as it is. It was a side project. Farm was still happening. This was a side project. Still working, full-time job, was kind of tinkering on the side with this. And it turns out we just made something so good that it forced my hand to go full-time on this. There's a bigger story to that too, but the product is really what's leading all this success. It gives us the ability to market so well that people are seeing it on their feed all the time. Like, where did this come from? It's really made a good product.
What does that all do?
So it's increasing neurotransmitters, giving you that subtle uplift. If you continue to do that, what it's called is neuromodulation. So you're neuromodulating yourself, brain, into a better state for focus and flow states. You're getting into flow state, basically putting your mind into flow state. That neuromodulation, consistent over time, induces what's called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity, neurogenesis is the process of neuroplasticity. And that is growing new synapse connections in the brain. So what that's doing essentially is strengthening your cognition, because it's kind of forming these new pathways around focus and flow state and locking in your ability to attend, be attentive. You're kind of increasing your practice in ways that your mind will stay on task consistently over time. So you take it once, you'll have this effect. If you take it consistently, it's inducing neurogenesis, neuroplasticity that improves your mind's ability to do it long term.
So what does make matter different?
It's really this comprehensive blend of things and the way that they synergistically work together. So it's not just one thing, right? There's nootropics in it. What they're doing is increasing specific neurotransmitters, dopamine and acetylcholine. That's the main thing that they're doing. Dopamine is a focus molecule. It helps your mind stay on task. Acetylcholine helps your memory. It helps your reaction time, the speed of your cognition, and the stamina. In addition to those things, there are adaptogens, things like lion's mane, rhodiola, ashwagandha. These regulate your cortisol levels. They don't always just bring them down, they regulate them. It's a very important difference. And they help uplift your mood and help you more easily get to a flow state. So you're just feeling kind of better, calm. right? And then for energy, we have a whole stack of methylated B vitamins. B vitamins are the core to energy, building blocks of energy in your cells. So you need them. And then there is caffeine, but it's plant-based, and it comes from matcha, guarana, and green tea. And the key is that it's time released. So matcha, green tea, there's a compound called L-theanine that naturally binds to the caffeine molecule. That slows the release into your bloodstream. And it also is very well known to create alpha brainwaves in your mind, which is like this calming effect of L-theanine. And then guarana also has something called tannins that do the same thing. That is this like slow binding effect, so that it's not this jolt of caffeine. It's more like a smooth uplift that lasts for multiple hours. So I've already said all these things, and then there's even more on that, which are things called carotenoids that are these compounds that protect your eyes from blue light. And we're staring at the screens all over here, right? And if you get eye strain, it reduces your ability to continue working. And your eyes are very closely connected to your brain, so it just makes sense. So there's this comprehensive thing. And if you just objectively go compare us to things in the market, the number of ingredients, often 2 to 3 times more. Effective dose, how many grams are in here that you take, is around 4 grams. If you take this whole packet, it's 8 grams. So compare that to something else, it's far less. And so it accomplishes this goal that I had set out to make, where something that you can feel. So the feelability of it is what makes it different.
So I know you made it for yourself. Who do you see benefiting the most right now from this product?
What's very interesting about this is that, like you said, everyone can benefit from supplementing their mind. And so, I don't want to box us into specific things or just for this or just for that. But the reality is, though, there are these pockets of people who are already thinking about their mind because they're already maybe taking something for their mind. And so it's an easy transition for them to say, oh, maybe I can take a brain supplement. Let me try that, right? And that's people that have ADHD, people that are going through perimenopause, people that are experiencing cognitive decline. Like, they're already thinking about their mind and wanting something. Those people are going to be the first ones to try, right? They respond well to that message. There's this whole other cohort of people that I would call high performers, biohackers, people that are like, I've had a full schedule, right? And just want to be as productive as they possibly can. And they're starting to realize, like, oh, I can give myself some mental fuel that's actually healthy for me, that's plant-based, that is going to be more effective than synthetic stimulant or another coffee. And I'll be able to do more because I've got this really busy schedule. So you combine all those things. The initial people that really resonated with it are the ones who are already thinking about it. Now we're getting into more of this is your everyday thing. If I want to be my best, I need this, right? Whether it's us or somebody else, but we're the best.
So a common question we get is like, how do I utilize Graymatter?
First of all, I love coffee. So I'll still have a coffee in the morning, but I drink less coffee now. I think of this like a greens drink, but for your mind, where it's a daily thing. I do suggest taking 1 or 2 days off just to give yourself a reset. You should take 1 or 2 days off of caffeine if you can. But it's mental nutrition, and there is a stimulating effect to it because that's how we built it. And so most people, because of that, take it in the morning. So I'll take a little bit in the morning, and then instead of maybe a second coffee, I'll have Graymatter in my early afternoon. It just helps you beat that afternoon slump. Now, some people just take their full dose in the morning, and that's all they need. I would say the majority of people do that. But you can take it in multiple ways. And if you still want to have a coffee, cool. You can combine them. Not in the same thing unless you have the cacao, which will basically make a super coffee. But there's lots of ways to drink it.
Another common question we get is who can take Graymatter?
So there's definitely adults. Any adult can take this. If you have any sort of medical condition, we always say consult with your physician. We're getting a lot of parents of teens that are purchasing it for the younger person. Someone that is 16 plus is what we recommend. Always to consult with your physician. And they're feeling stuck. They're being told that their child has some sort of issue, then they need to be medicated or given a synthetic stimulant. By all means, that's a physician decision, and it's totally different than what Graymatter does or claims to do. But if you're 16 plus and you're wanting to give some more mental nutrition because it will help you perform better at whatever it is, school, homework, just day-to-day stuff, being able to pay attention, it works in the same way that it does an adult. Now, we understand that people want to give it to younger people. We don't recommend that. We'd love to make one, and we're trying to make one for younger people, but it has to work. It's really important to me that it works. And so we're working on that. It took us 1.5 years, maybe even a little bit longer, to get Graymatter to the point where it is now, where it really works. If we come out with another product for younger people, we want to make sure it works. So at this point, it's for 16 plus. If you do give it to a teenager, make sure that, there's parental supervision. Most customers are adults, but there's definitely some 16 plus teenagers that are benefiting from it.
So we also get a lot of
breastfeeding, pregnant. Listen, I would say consult your physician. I don't know. It's probably okay, but just from a compliance standpoint, share with your physician. Show them the ingredients. Ask them, is this okay for me? It's not up to us to judge, right? It's your body. If you want to take it, if you're still drinking coffee, you can give it like a matcha with some brain vitamins in it. But by all means, ask your physician.